Hi, my name is Lisa Elvin Staltari, and this is my channel, Have Roots, Will Travel. I'm a genealogist and a passionate traveler. One of the reasons I called my business and my website and all that Have Roots, Will Travel early on was because I realized that as I was researching my ancestors, I was traveling. I was going to places and understanding history that I had never seen before. And sometimes I actually get to go back and see literally the places, but most of the time I'm virtually traveling. And I wanted to explore that avenue and talk about locations and talk about understanding where things are. And a lot of my videos are going to be about traveling through Quebec, different places that I'm going to go to. But I also am going to focus on genealogy research and how to do things. But in this very special series that I am working on, I'm looking at Les Filles du Roi, the King's Daughters. And we are going back in time, and we are traveling through time, if you will, to understand these amazing women who traveled from France to New France and helped to found, really, all of North America. They are the founding mothers of North America. Now, in order to understand this, I created a video called Les Filles du Roi, the Program 2.0. And in this program, I talk about the government and all of the different rules and regulations that they had to go through in order to embark, how it worked, what they were given, where they were from. So I think it's really important that you look at this video if you want to gain a better understanding of what your particular ancestor or ancestors went through. So with that, let's have a look at who we're going to be looking at today. We're going to be looking at my 8 times great-grandmother, and her name is Agathe Merlin. Isn't that a cool name? Now, she's one of those characters that I do not know the exact place. Normally, I have a church listed here. I have pictures, I have maps, all of that. There was too much conflicting information. One source told me Maubert, the other one Maubeuge. There was a parish called Saint-Roch. I could not find it. And then Saint. So there's 4 different places. What I know for sure is that her parents' names were Adrien Merlin and Françoise Lesbien. What I know for sure is that she left for New France from La Rochelle. So I deduced that probably she is from Saint, the 3rd on the left, only because it's the closest one to La Rochelle. But your guess is as good as mine. If any of you have more information on this, please put it in the notes. But this is all I know. Now, she arrived on the ship La Nouvelle France, July 31st, 1670. She brought with her goods worth an estimated 300 pounds. We do not know if her parents are alive or deceased because it doesn't state that. Now, let's have a look at the groom she selected. The groom she selected, his name was Jean Loriot, dit Limousin. His parents were François Loriot and Françoise Mesnard, and he was born in 1638 in Cognac-le-Froid, in the province of Limousin in France. And I've circled this. This is another one that was really hard to find. I couldn't find it. I could kind of find Cognac-le-Froid on the map, but I did find a postcard that said Cognac-le-Froid, so I thought that was great. And this is the area that he came from. So now we know that. He was a mason by trade. That we do know. We do not have a church marriage record. Really, these two, well, they just escape our grasp. Don't they know that 300 years later we're going to be looking for this? But we do know that their marriage was notarized on August 30th, 1670 at Neuville. I show you a picture of the St. Anne's Chapel that was built in 1679. Obviously, they weren't married here, but the grounds were the same as the original church, which I imagine is where Agathe and Jean were married. Now, where did they settle? They settled in Neuville, which is a village on the north shore of the St. Lawrence River, just west of Quebec City. And it was founded in 1684, and it remains really a picturesque kind of place. It was granted as seigneurie by Jean de Lejeune to Jean Bourdon de Saint-Jean for his son, Jean-François Bourdon de Domburg, who was an engineer, a surveyor, a cartographer, and attorney general to the sovereign. In 1680, the Domburg seigneurie was acquired by Nicolas Dupont de Neuville, and hence it is now called Neuville. On some old documents, you will see Domburg. So those are the two names. So you see how important it is to know the origins, because when you're looking for records, you could all of a sudden say, well, that's not my place. My place is Neuville. It's not Domburg. And I actually made that mistake on one case. In 1679, the Saint-François de Sales parish was formed. It became a civil parish in 1685. The place was also known as Pointe-aux-Trembles, which means the shaking point. And it was built, the church is called that, the Pointe-aux-Trembles church, the parish. No one really knows why it was called that, but it was covered with birch, and perhaps it kind of shook when it was built. I'm not really sure. And it's also important to note, I've said this in another video, it's also important to note that there are two Pointe-aux-Trembles, one that is part of Montreal, very important region of Montreal, the island of Montreal. Pointe-aux-Trembles is a parish, although it was, you'll see the records and it'll be Pointe-aux-Trembles. Neuville is the town and Pointe-aux-Trembles is the parish. And it's important that you know the difference. So as you're researching your ancestors, are they in Quebec City or are they in Montreal? And then you can probably make the difference, the assumption of which Pointe-aux-Trembles they're talking about. Now, they went on to have 4 children, 3 of whom made it to adulthood. We have Jeanne, who married Pierre Pluchon, dit Aubuchon, and had 2 children, and both of whom grew to adulthood. Joseph married twice, the first to Marie-Michel Charlotte Delage, and he had 11 children, only 3 of whom made it to adulthood. The second marriage produced 8 children, only 2 of whom made it to adulthood. I just can't imagine. Pierre lived only to be 6 years old, and Marie-Louise, which is my direct descendant, married René Tapin and had 7 children, 6 of whom grew to adulthood. Now here's where the story really gets interesting. In 1675, a fellow Filles du Roi accused Agathe of some misdeed in the Prévost de Québec. We do not know the case, but we do know that Jean appeared in front of the legal committee asking for Agathe's release from prison. And remember, this is 1675. She has a couple of kids at this point. And Jean is obviously saying, I need my wife. That's all we know. But wouldn't it be amazing to discover what led to the imprisonment of a woman by another woman? My only guess is that it had to do with some sort of relationship issue. And the reason why I guess this is from 1675 to 1682, there does not appear to have been any other children born to the couple. Finally, in 1683, Marie-Louise was born. Thank goodness for that, because she's my direct ancestor. So, okay. So, there's 7 years. It's very unusual. I suppose it's possible, but there's no, there's no records of deaths or stillborns or anything like that. So, I'm tempted to believe that kind of, writer's imagination. I just think it's remarkable that another Fille du Roi accused another Fille du Roi. So it's just, even back then, we have drama, and gossip, and all of that. Now, there was, in my research, I found an amazing site called l'Histoire Neuville, and I'll put the link in the notes. When I saw this, my breath was taken away. They had 2 houses listed, and I knew it had to be this family. Maison Loriot d'Anjou. This was the first house, Loriot d'Anjou, built by them, but they were renowned as master masons. You'll recall that I had said he was a mason when he came over from France. And they helped build not only this, the colony of Neuville and its housing, but worked on the first Basilica of Quebec. They also built the house of Louis Joliet, the renowned Quebec voyageur. The land that this house sits on has been owned by a Loriot from 1707 to the 1950s. So this is kind of like the ancestral place. The second house was also built by the Loriot, and it is one of the oldest houses in Neuville. And because it has really had very little alterations to it, it truly represents a historical treasure, because it really, there's no window, the windows are the same, things like that. So if you want to go and visit this is definitely, I wasn't able to determine which Loriot built these houses, but we can determine that it would be the descendant of Joseph, as he was the only son. Remember, he had a lot of kids. So it's very, very interesting. And if anyone has any further information, please share. I just thought this was remarkable. Again, on my bucket list to go and see. Jean dies on July 10th, 1706, and was buried the next day. He was 66 years old. Agathe lives another 22 years, dying at the amazing age of 85. She was buried on the 4th of December, 1728. They are both buried in the Neuville Cemetery in Neuville. Jean Loriot and Agathe Merlin were among the strongest and vibrant pioneers of Neuville, Quebec, and truly helped found this very, very, I guess, the pioneer kind of place in Quebec. It really established a lot of people. And it's where a lot of people began their families. And with that, we finished number 14. You see how many women and how many stories we can get through? I will bid you adieu for now, and we will see each other for video number 15. Until then, au revoir.